Pat Hayden will be the Ram quarterback. The other two, Jaworski and Harris, both out with injury. A semi-rookie will lead the Ram offense. No rookie here is Fran Tarkenton, who owns just about every passing record there is, will quarterback the Minnesota Vikings. A packed house now just set to greet the Minnesota Vikings. No seats available. The atmosphere here is playoff. It is hard to say that every game is a big game, but certainly both these teams, Tom Brookshire, feel it is a very big game.
I mean, you know, after only 1 week, I do think that beating the Falcons, a tough team, the Rams have an advantage coming in against the team that beat New Orleans. Not yet the team that the Falcons were, at least last Sunday.
You saw the Rams last week. What do you think?
Well, Hayden's pretty good average. He has 1 for 1, a 47-yard touchdown pass. But actually, the Rams, if they have to have this young man win by passing, I think they're in trouble. The good ground game should make Pat Hayden's debut much, much better.
And how about the veteran Fran Tarkenton?
In his career, he's beaten the Rams 10 times. And, of course, here at Bloomington, the Vikings have almost been untouchable for the Los Angeles Rams. Tarkenton gives them a lateral position with Foreman that's really tough to defend. They've got to be very careful.
Of course, the game is not all quarterbacks either. There's some great, outstanding defensive players on both teams, and we'll be watching them throughout the afternoon as well.
Well, the pass rush, of course, you have to worry about it. Carl Eller has a broken hand that he's coming back from, and if anybody knows the helmet slapping technique of the 70s, maybe Eller will not be as effective, but he's still a great basketball player. And here's the F. Lee Bailey of the NFL, Alan Page. Someday he'll be a lawyer. Right now he's one of the great inside rushers in pro football history, a great inside pass rusher.
The Rams are not without talent either. It's hard to imagine a defensive end any better than Jack Youngblood.
Well, the reason that Jack really and Dreyer, and we're going to see them in just a moment, Youngblood and Dreyer are so effective is that Merlin Olsen and Brooks inside allow the two outside men, Youngblood you see right here, a wild man, and the spiritual leader, Freddie Dreyer, to really cut loose on the pass rush.
Okay, let's go down now and pick up the toss of the coin with referee Fred Silva.
Heads, tails. Receive, which way? Will you please reverse? Will receive.
Los Angeles has won the toss. This is Pat Summerall with Tom Brookshire at the Met in Bloomington, Minnesota. And as I mentioned before, playoff atmosphere is here. Both of these teams won last week. Both of them figure to be tough throughout the season. We'll be ready for the start of today's game in just a moment.
I couldn't hear that.
Getting ready for the national anthem now. Colors presented by the color guard from the University of Minnesota ROTC, wearing Army uniforms vintage 1820. National anthem today sung by Holly Callan, accompanied by the La Crosse State University Band. color guard leaving what is a very wet end of the field. That end of the field was not covered last night. And in some areas, it is very, very wet. Temperature of 73 degrees, a north wind of 12 miles an hour at the back of Fred Cox, who will kick it off. 20% chance of rain and diminishing. There is head coach Bud Grant of the Minnesota Vikings. Very unemotional gentleman.
But they have an easy way after this football game. The Vikings have what I think to be the easiest, easiest division titleist schedule of all of them. I think they have an easy road from here on till Pittsburgh.
Dwight Scales and Freeman Johns back deep in a position to handle the kick. And it is going to be Freeman Johns at the 6. Pretty good wedge set up. Johns outside the 35 to the 38 before the Vikings pin him down. Stopped by Robert Miller, number 35.
Rookie from SMU, that's Freeman Johns. Again, Fred Cox has been around a long time and is the all-time active scorer, but his kickoffs are pretty short. Let's set that offensive lineup now. You can see Big Doug France at left tackle, Tommy Mack, who's been there for 11 years at left guard, Rich Saul at center, Dennis Harrow, the big second-year right guard, and, of course, John Williams right here from the University of Minnesota at right tackle.
And that's the backfield. Pat Hayden from USC is the quarterback, backed by John Capoletti and Lawrence McCutcheon. And Capoletti gets the call and gets about 8 yards.
That's what the Rams want to do, though, Pat. They do not want to have to throw. They would like to use Capoletti and McCutcheon, much like they did a week ago. That time, it looked to me like the Vikings overran it, that Viking defense, and Cappy, like you say, sauntered for about 8. There's Eller, Sutherland, the Thrasher, of course, Alan Page and Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall. That's the secondary. You saw the linebackers, and that's the way they'll stack up throughout most of the game. Second down play for the Rams, and Hayden gives again to Capoletti. He ran into his offensive guard, and the Vikings stack it up. He ran into Dennis Harrod. He got held up getting out.
Had a little trouble with Alan Page, too. They ran an over defense, which means that Alan Page was on Rich Saul's nose. I don't know if you've ever seen Alan Page up close, but that's scary to have him right on your nose.
He does get close.
He's offsides, I think, coming out.
And so quick off the ball. A loss of about 3. It's 3rd and 6 now. The opening minutes of the game between the Rams and the Vikings. Perhaps Pat Hayden's first pass of this game. He threw only one last week. No pass. It's Capoletti. He's hit by Page just as he got underway. He collided with Hayden. And the Rams will have to punt. Rusty Jackson will come in. Doug Sutherland finally made the stop.
I think there was a chance they could have called illegal procedure. It looked to me like McCutcheon had taken a false step and didn't quite come to a hold on his stance. By the way, this young Jackson, the rookie, really did a great job of punting last week against the Falcons. But he takes about 3 steps, Pat, and look out for a rush by the Vikes before this one's over.
Leonard Willis is the lone safety man for Minnesota. Rusty Jackson to front, a bad snap. He got it on the hop and got away a respectable kick. Fair catch signal. Let's see, put up the hand. That was Autry Beeman, the backup safety man for Minnesota, and Tarkenton. And the Vikings offensive unit will take it over. We'll run down the offensive line for you in just a second and also check out the Ram defense. Here's the offensive line for Minnesota. Steve Riley, Chuck Goodrum, Mick Tingelhoff, Ed White, and Ron Yeary. A veteran group there, too. There's the backfield.
McClanahan, Foreman, of course, Fran Tarkenton. He's been there forever. Lash, Voigt, Sammy White.
Sammy White, the rookie. Throw back across the field to McClanahan. With Tingelhoff out in front. He's up to the 40-yard line on first down. A pickup of about 8. Tarkenton against the grain right off the bat.
Boy, Butch Robertson makes a super play at the right linebacking spot. Or that is a big gainer. Super play. Jack Youngblood, of course, and Dreyer at the ends. Merlin Olsen and Larry Brooks inside. 2 very fine professionals. Reynolds, Hacksaw in the middle with Rick Kay at left. And Butch Robertson, who just made a tackle just in at right. There's the secondary.
And a pretty good secondary it is.
It's quick.
Sammy White goes in motion on second down, and Chuck Foreman gets the carry. Wrapped up by Youngblood, stopped finally by Brooks. Not first down yardage. Foreman just barely got back to the line of scrimmage.
Might keep in mind that the Rams do have Rick Kay and Monty Jackson and Perry, 2 young cornerbacks. Perhaps the Vikings will try to do the sprint out that Fran is so famous for, where he'll sprint out and then unload it to Foreman in the flat, or maybe hand off the way they do on that misdirection play back inside.
3rd and 3. No pickup by Foreman on that last carry. Foreman again to the outside, does not get it. Jack Reynolds and Isaiah Robertson on the stop.
Ran right at Freddie Dreyer. We were talking before the game. Freddie's only about 220 pounds at 6'6", but plays the run a lot better than a lot of people would like to admit. He is not what you would think of as a giant defensive end.
Not enough for first down for Minnesota on their first offensive series. So Neil Claybo. And back deep for the Rams, Jim Bertelsen, number 45. He is the good hands. Rarely does he fumble. Claybo. Bertelsen will handle at the 17 and swings to the outside. He had a wall set up that's very slippery on that end of the field, and that's what caused Bertelsen to go down so quickly. So with 10 minutes and 56 seconds left in the first period, each team's had the ball once, and we have no score. Minnesota against Los Angeles. If you go back and reflect on that first offensive series, Tom, I guess you would expect both teams to be a little conservative, be a little tight in a game of this magnitude this early in the year.
Well, I think both teams are good running ball clubs, and I think they have to, get out of the idea that they got to have 3rd and long. Both teams like to take it, go 80 yards, eat up your clock, and put something on the board at the end of a long drive. And so far, neither one of them's gotten a drive at all.
The first series the Rams had on 3rd and long yardage, Pat Hayden elected not to throw the ball. Of course, as the afternoon progresses, he is going to have to make that choice sometime.
Now, Hayden, by the way, is not calling his own plays. He's being signaled from the sidelines, with Chuck Knox having the veto vote. But I don't think he would exercise it. Both coaches like to delegate authority, and they do it very well.
And there, of course, one of the defensive stalwarts of the Minnesota defensive unit, Alan Page. Ram first down with the ball on their own 24-yard line. No score as yet. Each team has won one offensive series. Back to Capoletti again from Hayden. Capoletti got some good blocking. He looks like a very strong runner.
He's a strong runner. He's carrying 222 or 221 pounds, but I like the way he cuts back. Some backs have a natural instinct to find it where it is, and Cappy seems to have that. Good block by Hara.
Jeff Wright finally made the tackle, and that's what you don't like to have happen too often when those safety men have to run into a tank like Capoletti. 2nd and 3.
199. 199.
Cappy gets the carry again. This time he's wrapped up by Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker.
Seaman might play the run as well as any middle linebacker in football. Number 50. Out of Stanford, very bright. Has to cover up a lot because Page does a lot of freelancing on his own, but is excellent against the run.
Here comes backup tight end Terry Nelson. It's 3rd and about a yard, and a nice welcome on the scoreboard for us. This, of course, our doubleheader game, and for all the audience, we think we got a pretty good product. 3rd and 1. Capoletti again, and this time he does get the first down yardage. Cornerback Nate Allen came up and helped out, but there's the indication from referee Fred Silva that Capoletti got enough. No carries, strangely enough, by McCutcheon as yet.
Well, McCutcheon did a great job of blocking last week for it, but watch this short yardage, and watch how Capoletti controls the ball. He's not thinking about going 80 yards. He's keeping both arms wrapped around that ball, and it's a good thing. The Vikings can really strip you. I don't mean of your clothes, but of the ball occasionally.
Nate Allen and Jeff Wright made the tackle. It's first down Rams, the ball at their own 35-yard line.
I've seen them take some clothes, too, now that I've thought about it.
I think you're right. This back to McCutcheon. He breaks one tackle and then slips down. I believe it was Wally Hilgenberg that came back and hit McCutcheon. He's still down.
It is Wally Hilgenberg. Now watch the left part of your screen. This is a toss, a straight toss back. Saul's in the center position blocking. Capoletti has not been able to get into the play, and Hilgenberg was across very early. Actually, McCutcheon just ran on the sides of his shoes where there are no cleats, right?
And just simply slipped down. Hilgenberg tried to get up and couldn't. Went back down on his knees again. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited.
Well, there's a great 13-year veteran. You know, he came here from Pittsburgh, actually, after graduating from Iowa, and he has just played the greatest football. In fact, his interception a couple of years ago kept the Rams from winning the championship right in this very stadium.
Right. Never forget that game. A playoff game. It'll be second down. About a 5-yard loss on that pitch back to McCutcheon. 2nd and 15 will make it with 8:46 left in the first period. Roy Winston is one of the linebackers now, replacing Hilgenberg. Matt Blair on the other side.
And Bertelson is in the backfield for the Rams for the first time in 2 weeks.
2nd and 15. Hayden takes the pass outside, gets back to McCutcheon. McCutcheon comes back, got good yardage, and breaks 2 or 3 more tackles. At least 13 by McCutcheon on that reverse.
One of the great blocking jobs, and if you young people are thinking about it, I want you to watch Jim Bertelson. Watch Bertelson make this block to the top of your screen now. He'll get Carl Eller going out, which he should do because Keller sees it's the reverse around. Now, just to the left of there, you'll see Bertelson stay with the block. This is called continuing the play. And, of course, McCutcheon is such a super savvy runner. He picked it up and cut back inside.
Bertelson got right up in his face and stayed there. That's a heck of an effort. 3rd and 1. Capoletti gets the call again, and he got the first down, almost broken. But an effort by Capoletti.
Now, he was trying to get a yard, and like you said, he almost got about 58, didn't he? Once in a while, a short yardage defense has everybody in one line, and if you break that thin line, it's a dash. Again, I don't think Cappy was thinking about that, or he might have been able to recover.
He got about 2 or 3 yards with one hand on the ground completely. McCutcheon and Capoletti both gained over 100 yards rushing last week against Atlanta. And that's the kind of balance you really need. First down, Los Angeles. The ball at the Minnesota 47. Capoletti again. Workhorse. Takes inside, went back outside, and got first down yardage again.
Boy, McCutcheon did a great job of sealing off on the outside. And let's just take a look and see where Blair, the linebacker, goes. You're behind the defense now. Cappy steps inside. Jeff Siemens cut off. You see by the tight end Klein. Another dip. This time the block was by Harold Jackson, and Capoletti runs like a halfback.
Built like a fullback. Look at Chuck Knox's career record. Capoletti's carried 8 times already for a pickup of 38 yards. First down, Los Angeles. The ball at the Minnesota 31. Jesse comes in motion. McCutcheon gets the carry. He broke a tackle. Matt Blair hit him. McCutcheon kept his balance and got about 8 or 9 yards. Watch that balance again.
He's in absolutely no hurry at all. Watch number 30. Watch the move now. Blair has him, and Blair's a super football player. Look at this. McCutcheon's in no hurry. There's no panic. And great success. Boy, they've got a tandem of running backs, I'll tell you.
Though, 2nd and 2 will make it. Word from the Viking bench is that Wally Hilgenberg is fine. No problem. This season he'll be back. Hayden gets to McCutcheon again. McCutcheon has the first down for Los Angeles. Stopped again by Paul Trout.
And this time it was Capoletti blocking for McCutcheon.
Hilgenberg, by the way, is back in the game already. So obviously he is okay. First down, Los Angeles. The ball now at the Minnesota 18. We have just over 6 minutes left in the first period. Bud Grant.
And really hasn't been able to put any pressure on the rookie quarterback yet.
Has not thrown a pass yet. First down for Pat Hayden and the Los Angeles offensive unit. To Capoletti again, and Cappy straight ahead, bangs into the secondary down inside the 10-yard line. Hit by Jeff Wright. He dragged him about 3 yards, close to a first down.
Well, Hara and Williams, the tackle and the guard on that right side, are doing such a good job of handling Sutherland and Eller. Look to the left of your screen. Saul just turns the nose man inside. Well, there's a tremendous block on Seaman. And seldom have I ever seen such big holes for the Vikings up front.
Tom Mack is doing a heck of a job on Alan Page. Page has made some tackles, but they've all been about 10 yards downfield. First down, Los Angeles.
Take a look at it. This is inside football. It's not cute. It's not fancy. It's effective. Fullback follows the halfback in. Tough.
Mack pulled that time, cut up through the hole, and cut down Jeff Seaman. Capoletti now with 48 yards on 9 carries. He and McCutcheon are the running back tandem for the Rams. First and goal at the 8. Capoletti the call again. Nothing doing this time. Carl Eller stacked it up. Matt Blair made the seal.
Cappy might have missed the hole a little bit. That time he tried to slide outside. McCutcheon couldn't give him much help. Look what happens to Lawrence McCutcheon to the left of your screen now. Number 30 leads it. He gets knocked back into the fullback. Cappy slides off, and Sutherland makes a super play on defense.
So it's still second and goal now. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first period. The Rams are knocking at the door. McCutcheon shoots to the outside, comes back to about the 6-yard line. Nate Wright and Doug Sutherland on the stop. Sutherland, you talked about him before, Tommy. They call him the Thrasher. All he does is create confusion.
I don't know. I just have a feeling the intimidation factor of taking this drive right on down without throwing a pass and getting either 3 or 7 points would be very, very strong indeed if the Rams could pull this one off.
I would think so. You're looking closely at Pat Hayden now. It is third and goal. Miller close to it. Hayden back to pass is running. He's inside the 5 to the 2-yard line. Perhaps down to the 1, maybe even closer than that.
He passes very well.
He does.
I'll tell you one thing, he put it away, and obviously a Rhodes Scholar is not going to do anything that isn't intelligent, but he puts it away early enough. Now it's all covered. Sometimes you might want to throw that first one, right? He puts it away, gets away from Alan Page, and almost gets killed at the goal line, but almost scores, too.
They have put the ball down at the 1-yard line. The Rams are not going field goal. They're going for it. And the crowd at Bloomington took the line. Fourth and goal at the 1. Bertelson's in the backfield. But Capoletti gets the carry, but does not make it. Minnesota ball. Stopped by Nate Allen and Jim White, the number 1 draft choice.
Watch Nate Allen now, number 25. And Capoletti at 222 doesn't make it.
A very impressive-looking drive by the Los Angeles Rams, but they get nothing out of that. And you can only do that so many times. Bud Grant obviously very happy about it. The Rams took the ball 75 yards in 14 plays and got no score.
Nate Allen is only 175 pounds, and he pulled Capoletti away from that goal line like he'd been bell pressing about 450.
He's been doing a good job playing in place of the regular Bobby Bryant, who has a broken arm. And Bobby Bryant is going to have a tough time getting his job back. Chuck Knox, there's Pat Hayden talking with Kenny Meyer on the sideline right now.
We'll watch Kenny Meyer closely. He is actually the man that signals the quarterback with that offensive play the next time they get the ball.
So Minnesota has the ball after stopping that drive by Los Angeles. Let's check out some of the other scores. New England upset Miami 30-14. Very impressive fashion. 15-0 St. Louis over Green Bay. That's not a final. Chicago 7-0 over San Francisco in the first period. I've seen Tarkenton throw from here, and does. Outside in the direction of McClanahan. Isaiah Robertson right with it.
All right, now where would the impetus be, Pat? Do you think by taking it down and giving it to Fran even on the 2-yard line that it's still with the Rams? Or do you feel like because the defense did such a good job that now the Vikings feel like they can do a little turn on here?
You got to be a little depressed if you're the Rams after taking the ball that long, that far. They got to lose some of their momentum. But on the other hand, if they can hold the Vikings here and make a punt out of the end zone, they still get the ball back in pretty good shape.
Here's that new double wing formation that Grant's been using quite a bit.
Got White and Lash on the same side. Tarkenton outside Chuck Foreman. Out to the 5. They got a little breathing room. He got up to the 6, but not too much. Bill Simpson and Isaiah Robertson over close.
Now the double wing allows this man, number 44 Foreman, to not only be a great receiver, but they're telling you he's a great receiver right away. And Ahmad Rashad, we might see him come on for Mike Grant too. He used to be Bud Grant. He used to be called Bobby Moore, I believe, in the old days, right?
Right. It's 3rd and 4 now. We have 2.5 minutes left first period. No scores yet. And Tarkenton has never lost to the Rams at Minnesota. Outside he goes again. This time it's for Nash, and he got the first down. Just enough before he made his cut. Well, now they say maybe not.
Ball was underthrown, but Lash came back and took it in good shape.
Tarkenton coming over for a look. I was sure that he had the first down, but I was also premature.
That's Rod Perry's position, the rookie from Colorado for the Rams, probably laying off of Lash a little bit. Let's take a look at the last play and see how Fran's throwing and how Lash is catching. Here's the drop back. He doesn't drop back too much, does he? Fran gets it on the way. He loads it up. It's low and away, and the hitter comes up with it.
First down yardage, the ball out at the 11. They just barely got it. The running backs still McClanahan and Foreman. Just 2 minutes left in the first period. No score. McClanahan bangs for trouble. But the Rams are awfully tough in that direction with Merlin Olsen and Larry Brooks in the middle of things.
Brooks might be the most underrated defensive tackle. He's probably going to go to the Pro Bowl for the rest of his life, but I'm just telling you, Larry Brooks makes that whole defensive line for the Rams tick. He's very smooth, never overcommits number 90, and that time when Goodrum tried to go over and put a trap block on Olsen, he dragged Brooks right into the play, no gain.
It is 2nd down now as Tarkenton brings his offensive unit out. Look, it's Sammy White, a rookie from Grambling, and he's the man that they hope will take the place of John Gilliam. He's been coming on.
Oh, he's really fast. He was a great ball carrier at Grambling. He averaged like 8 yards a rush, and he's only 5'11", about 185 pounds. But we saw him beat the Cincinnati Bengals late, and he caught a pass after a Tarkenton scramble last week for another touchdown. You're right, he's quite a player.
Just 55 seconds left now in the first period as Tarkenton has his offensive unit out. On 1st and 10, the ball at the 26. Foreman gets the call, cuts back to the inside, can go nowhere. Looks like Fred Dreyer came from the outside and got him around the feet.
Let's take a close-up look at Dreyer and see how he is after first period down there. Freddie Dreyer.
Do you think anybody's ever had a real close look at him?
He loves to play football. You know, I think Sundays are a lot more fun for Freddie than the rest of the week.
All right, he just loves life.
There he is. Look at him. 6'6", about 219, maybe.
And very, very quick. 2nd down, 2nd and 8. Tarkenton gives it to Foreman, and Foreman tries to cut right up the middle. Jack Reynolds and Rick Kay made the tackle.
Looks like the Vikes are getting pretty good initial holes opened up on the Rams, but those linebackers are plugging them very quickly.
So that's the end of the first quarter. There is no score. One Ram drive dominated most of the first quarter. They took it 75 yards and got no points. Los Angeles and Minnesota, two teams that have dominated their respective divisions in the last few years. The Vikings almost always atop the Central Division, and the Rams for the last 3 after the West, the NFC West, belonged to San Francisco for a while. The Rams the last 3 years since Chuck Knox has been there have been alone at the top.
Notice the Rams changed their hotel up here in Bloomington for this game this time, figuring that maybe it was just the water or food or atmosphere or what. They haven't won up here in a while. And Fran, by the way, is tremendously effective against this great defense. 35 touchdowns in the 17 games that he's played against the Los Angeles Rams.
As always, a great crowd on hand, a sellout crowd, as you would expect for a game of this magnitude. Not all of them are sitting down.
That looks like a rock group sitting up there with those funny-looking hats. You see that group up in that stands there?
They were in the parking lot early today. It is third down as Fred Dreyer looks at what the Ram defensive unit has challenging it right now. Third down and 6. The ball at the Minnesota 30. They took it over at the 1. Parking it back. Oh, can't hang on. Very close by was Monty Jackson.
Good thing that Monty Jackson stuck that paw in there. Tarkenton swung both halfbacks that time. Here's a close game. Baltimore and Cincinnati still knocking in the 4th period. That last play, though, Foreman is so quick. He gave an outside move that Butch Robertson took and left, and it was wide open had it not been for the young cornerback Jackson.
On 4th down, Neil Playbowl will punt for the Vikings. Jim Bertelsen back in single safety for Los Angeles. Playbowl hung a high one. Bertelsen will field and try to return. He's at the 35. He gets outside. He's at the 40. Close to midfield is Jim Bertelsen, the steady one from Texas. So the Rams will take it over in reasonably good field position, just inside the 50-yard line, where Pat Hayden leads the offensive unit onto the field.
As a Sir Walter Raleigh smoker, I notice younger fellas enjoy Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic. Maybe because gals enjoy it too. What about a guy whose big thrill is hot soup? For me, it's taste. Quality tobaccos, flavored with 3 fine liqueurs. Sir Walter Raleigh Aromatic tastes as good as it smells. What more could I ask?
George, your soup is hot.
The quality pipe tobaccos of America.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m., CBS Sports Spectacular will feature the International Superbike Championship in Monterey, California, where an international field of motorcycle stars challenge America's most demanding road course. A filmed report on the American Mount Everest expedition. The $100,000 added Belle Dame from Belmont Park in New York. The Italian Grand Prix and a live pre-fight interview with Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Sometimes you have to take things into your own hands on the football field. Brian Hall took things into his own hands recently and probably saved Kevin Butler's life. After his friend severely cut an artery in his arm, Brian used his Boy Scout training to quickly stop the bleeding. The Boy Scouts, another agency that benefits from your support of the United Way. Thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way.
The preceding public service announcement was brought to you on behalf of the National Football League.
In the first period, the Vikings had it 4:59. On 1st down, Los Angeles, McCutcheon gets the call from Hayden. Nothing doing.
Great defensive play by Sutherland. The Thrasher chased the play. Eller sort of straightened it up a little bit with Blair's help. I tell you, Williams does a great job at offensive right tackle for the Rams, too. They're just so many good players that Knox has, but no superstars. Huh? Funny, huh?
You could really say that about both teams. They're very, very deep, both of them.
They're not double parked. Maybe that's the reason they play so well, so hard.
2nd down, about a 2-yard pickup. Hayden back to pass and throws to McCutcheon, who's wide open in the middle. He's down to the 35-yard line of Minnesota. Plenty of yards for a 1st down before he's stopped by Nate Allen.
Pretty good ball handling by young Pat Hayden, the kid from West Covina. He puts both backs into the passing play. Now watch him fake first to the fullback. Here's the play now. There goes Capoletti through to draw the linebacker outside, and McCutcheon followed him right across the middle and turned it up. You can see that the trailing back had a lot of extra running room, and number 30 isn't shabby at all once he gets his hands on it.
I'll say he is out getting a rest right now. Capoletti and Bertelsen, the running back tandem. The offensive tackle, Doug Krantz, I believe, moved for Los Angeles. Flags are down all over the place. That'll be the first penalty of the game.
That France is so big. Let's listen to it here.
False start.
That France is so big. He ran by our camera on the sidelines, and you could tell that something was moving in the area that caused it to be disturbed. He is real, but he's not ponderous. He's got good speed.
I thought it was sundown when he went by. He blocks out everything. First and 15, the ball at the 39-yard line of Minnesota now. And Capoletti gets the carry and gets some good yardage. Boy, you get everything he's got to offer, don't you?
Every day of the week. And the great thing, we've said it a lot, is that he was patient. When Chuck Knox said, you know, I'd like to use you, kid, but even though you're #1 draft choice and you've won the Maxwell Award and the Heisman Award, I got a lot of good people out here. Just sit and wait. And he waited. This is his 3rd year, and now he is the man in there with McCutcheon.
Right now, it's Bertelsen. It is 2nd and 8 with 12:55 left before the half. No scores yet. Takes to Bertelsen. Hayden comes out. Capoletti picked off by Matt Blair, the linebacker, lateral back. Blair made the interception. Lateral back to right. Matt Blair, a 6-foot 5-inch linebacker from Iowa State. Watch it again.
Here's the Cardinal sin. The young quarterback tries to just float it. And Blair reached up and picked it up. Blair, of course, is 6 foot 3.5 from Iowa State and almost made a very dangerous lateral. Blair almost gave it back.
Jeff Wright was able to hang on, and the Vikings take over at their own 45-yard line. The crowd comes alive. First and 10 for Tarkenton. He's going to throw. Rolling right is Sanchez. Throwing into the middle. Steve Boyce. The mystery tight end. About a 9-yard pickup. Stopped by Jack Reynolds, the middle linebacker.
Again, the Vikings are not a laterally adept football team, but with Fran sprinting out and throwing back and this kind of nitpicking, as we call it, they can drive a good defensive club crazy. And Reynolds, by the way, really sticks Mr. Boyd.
2nd and 1. Foreman and McClanahan behind Tarkenton. McClanahan gets the call. Maybe he got a first down, but not much more. Met by Larry Brooks in the middle of the Ram defense.
How about Mick Tingeloff doing a great job down there blocking. Had a bad shoulder last week, but still decided to play. Now, he started 288 consecutive games, preseason, postseason, the whole thing here.
That is absolutely incredible. He and Jim Marshall both have got some remarkable statistics about consecutive games played. Marshall will tie George Blanda today, by the way.
There's Tingeloff. I think he's got kids that are about ready to be drafted.
On first down, Tarkenton goes deep in the direction of Flag. Flag slips in. Oh, it's Sammy White. I'll take it back. Flag is on the other side of the field. There he is, number 82. It's going to be an interference call against the Los Angeles Rams, Rod Perry.
Perry's the young defensive back from Colorado. It looked to me like the ball was thrown, you know, in a lot of haste by Tarkenton. Watch Tarkenton slip. But he has the young man going up. He slips and throws a bad ball. But underneath there, young Perry must have tripped him. Boy, the official's right on top of it. Even if it's not intentional, it's trippy.
Ball goes down to the 15-yard line of Los Angeles. After that pass interference call against Rod Perry, it's first down Vikings. We have 11 minutes and 15 seconds left before the half. No scores yet. Tarkenton back again. Looks to the outside. He might take off with it. Waving people around, and down he goes. Larry Brooks behind him.
Don't tell me Tarkenton doesn't know what's going on out there. He gave it about 4 seconds, and when Thames fell down around him, Fran says, "Are you kidding? I've got a TV career in front of me. I got a lot of things going."
You get the impression that Tarkenton knows exactly where all 22 players are on every play.
I guess that's the reason that he hasn't been hurt. We always say, how can you be the scrambler and not be injured? But these guys have been chasing him around like others for 16 years, and they ain't got him yet.
The worst thing that can happen to you is play the Vikings on a hot day. You're a defensive lineman. You're going to spend much of that day chasing him around. 2nd and 12. He's back again. Outside, White. And White gets out of bounds. Knocked out of bounds by Rod Perry.
The corners are not tall for the Rams now. Rod Perry, the young man that just made that tackle and had that interference, is only 5'9". Monty Jackson is only 5'11" at the other corner, so they do not have height. They have instinct there, and they have quickness. Right now, the brain trust for the Vikings are going to try to take advantages of whatever they can find.
Rams take out Rick Kay and bring in an extra defensive back. Pat Thomas comes in.
It's the biggest play so far, Patrick, right now.
3rd and 11. Ball at the Rams 16. Parking it back. Outside in the direction of White. Nothing doing there. And I would imagine we will see the doctor, Fred Cox.
The old chiropractor will come in. And by the way, they tell me that he's been trying to work on some of the Vikings, and the team doctor is almost having him thrown out of the training room. He'll hang you by your thumbs, you know, but he's been a great kicker and now is the all-time scorer among active players in the National Football League history.
So Paul Krause will hold. You put it down at the 23. You add the 10 because the goalpost is back. Of course, it's 33 yards for Fred Cox. The right direction. He got it. 55 yards in 5 plays for the Minnesota Vikings, capped off by a 33-yard field goal by Fred Cox.
The 77 Thunderbird coming October 1st will create a storm with a new look, a new size, and a new price that's thousands less than last year.
That's a better idea.
For 1977, some car makers will offer only shorter, lighter full-size cars. But Ford's LTD is the full-size car that kept its size.
That's a better idea.
But for those who want a trimmer-size family car, Ford's introducing a new LTD2. A sportier, trimmer LTD at a trimmer price.
That's a better idea.
For 77, Granada comes with overdrive standard. Pinto sports a new look and sporty handling and a new flip-up removable roof option. Test one October 1st.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Fred Cox will kick it off for the Vikings in the direction of Freeman Johns, Wright Scales, and Cullen Bryant. Off the side of the foot, it's going to go out of bounds. Go back up 5. Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m., CBS Sports Spectacular will present an exciting show featuring the International Superbike Championship from Laguna Seca Speedway in Monterey, California, where an international field of motorcycle stars challenge America's most demanding road course. Also a film report on the American Mount Everest expedition. The $100,000 ad at Beldame for mares and fillies, 3-year-olds and up, from Belmont Park in New York. And the Italian Grand Prix, where Nicky Lauda makes his return to racing. And also a live pre-fight interview with Muhammad Ali and Ken Norton. All coming up next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Ali and Norton live. You think they can test a deal like that and try it?
That's a full afternoon. Fred Cox goes back to the 30.
He is not kicking the ball real deep on these kickoffs, which could give the Rams a decent run back.
Freeman Johns moves up, and again it's the Skibber. This is Dwight Scales with the ball back. Scales struggling, trying to find some running room, gets back to about the 31-yard line. He is stopped by Chuck Eckern, I believe. He's done a heck of a job on special teams for the Rams in 2 weeks.
Pat Hayden's got those funny-looking stats. He's now 1 touchdown pass a week ago, 1 attempted pass that he ran down to the 1-foot line, and then 1 interception, right?
Dallas and New Orleans in the 4th period. The Cowboys, who rolled last week, are doing it again. Hank Stram, our old buddy's having a tough time with the New Orleans Saints on 1st down. Hayden gives to Capoletti. Capoletti runs into Eller and Blair. There's nothing doing. Jeff Seaman also helped.
The Vikes really seal it off that time. No more dipping to the inside and getting to the outside like the Rams did in that 1st period. Blair and Eller that time just stood their ground and sealed it off.
They lead 3-0.
Remember now, Ron Jesse and Jackson, the 2 receivers that are now split, are excellent. But Hayden may not want to open up down his own field.
Jackson is right and Jesse is left. Hayden back to Capoletti. Capoletti gets about 6. At 2 years arrest, he had Muhammad Handy. The keep working him like this. Denver 6-3 over the Jets in the first period. Jeff Seaman made that last tackle. We have 9 minutes and 20 seconds left before the half. Minnesota leads 3-0.
Third down and almost 5. Will Hayden throw? That is our question.
Already in McCutcheon behind him. That's Pat Hayden. McCutcheon looks for a first down. You see him take a look over at the marker just as he's on the way down to see if he had enough. Just depends on the judgment of the official where they mark it. Right now, it doesn't appear that he did get enough.
Oh, that was a good tackle and a sure tackle.
Not even close enough to measure. McCutcheon still standing there arguing, looking.
Nate Allen made a super tackle on number 25. That's 2 of them. The one on the goal line was by number 25. And watch this play. Again, Hayden's a little tight throwing the ball. We watched him warming up. He wasn't, but he's already thrown an interception. He sort of forced this one. He could have zipped that ball a little bit, too. Good defensive stand there by the Vikes.
Carl Eller was looking down at him just as he let it go. Rusty Jackson in the kick.
That tends to tighten you up a little bit.
I would think so. It's going to be Willis at the 18. Around the corner. Almost. Tackle made by Kevin McQueen. And if he hadn't got the hand, the Vikings had something set up there. With 8:29 left before the half, it is 3-0 Minnesota.
We just moved into an apartment.
We're married.
We want to paint our living room.
Use Benjamin Moore's Regal Wall Satin. Great latex paint.
Honey, I decided to get Regal Wall Satin. It's great latex paint.
Is it hard to put on?
Are you kidding?
Is it washable?
Of course.
A Benjamin Moore dealer makes sure you get everything you need.
I didn't know you knew so much about paint.
See your Benjamin Moore dealer. He offers you more.
Maybe you're using Desenex, but to kill the fungus that causes the burning, cracking, and itching of athlete's foot, new Aftate is better, much better. It's the killer. Aftate kills all major types of athlete's foot fungus and helps prevent reinfection. In fact, the medication in Aftate has been proven more effective in killing athlete's foot fungus than the medication in Desenex. New Aftate is better, much better. It's the killer.
Rock star Alice Cooper and a host of CBS stars will be on hand for the brand new Tony Orlando and Dawn Rainbow Hour, premiering Tuesday at 8, 7 Central.
The offensive unit of the Minnesota Vikings led by Fran Tarkenton. That's the book on him so far. He always has good stats. Ball at the 28-yard line. Flanagan gets the call. Nothing doing as Larry Brooks around his feet almost as soon as he got the ball.
Number 90's got a bad ankle, but as we've said earlier, boy, he can really play the line of scrimmage. And he and Olsen sort of play it like two big piano players. Not much penetration. There's sort of a team in there so that they don't overextend themselves, and the linebackers can really play behind these two.
There's Brooks, number 90.
Look at the size of that face mask. That's the darndest thing I've ever seen.
Got to be strong just to hold up that helmet. 2nd and 10. Deep in the direction of Sammy White, and White broke off the pattern. He didn't do what Francis thought he was going to do.
Monty Jackson fell down that time, but as any old defensive back will tell you, they don't drop a flag and give you anything when you fall down. That receiver falls down, they take you to jail.
To me, like some defensive back has told me that somewhere.
That's right.
That Summerall with Tom Brookshire.
Should be some kind of an old fraternity for guys that have been knocked around playing corner, you know? There is.
Where is it?
Your corner saloon, right? I do.
Are you a member? 3rd and 10 now. Coleman out on the flank by himself, talking to get back to Moynihan. Merlin Olsen penetrated and took him down almost as soon as he got the handoff from Tarkenton, and Claybo and the punting unit come in. Bertelson goes back deep along with Freeman John.
Where did he come from to make that tackle? That's the quickest I've seen Merlin move, and he's only been playing for 15 years, right?
Picking up speed. Third down efficiency for neither team has been really outstanding. Neil Plebo standing at about the 12.5-yard line. Bertelson and Johns deep for the Rams. Good kick. Going to be Bertelson. Going to be Johns. As soon as he caught the ball, Quinlan Hall was right on top of him. They did a little Alphonse and Gaston over who was going to handle the ball, and they were lucky that they didn't come out of that with a fumble. Quinlan Hall made a great play. 3-0 Vikings.
Insulation is cheaper than oil. Look, here's a few $100s worth of pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Add a 6 to 12-inch blanket to an average uninsulated attic, and look what you'll save on heating and cooling in the next 20 years. Depending on where and how you live, anywhere from $1,000 up to $5,000 in oil, gas, or electricity. Get pink Owens Corning fiberglass insulation, the best way to cut energy costs. Insulation is cheaper than oil.
When America needed a better idea, Ford put it on wheels.
October 1st, Ford Pinto kicks up its heels with sporty new styling front and back, a sporty suspension for nimble handling, and new exciting options like rally instruments and a flip-up removable roof. Test one October 1st.
When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
The Rams out of the offensive huddle. The ball at their own 30-yard line. The Vikings lead it 3-0 with 7 minutes and 3 seconds left before the half. Pat Hayden, still the Ram quarterback. In the sweeper. Got good yardage before the pursuit cut him off. Matt Blair came out.
Klein is such a super blocker, number 80, the big tight end. Maybe the best blocker of all the tight ends. It's open, of course, for debate with Charlie Young and people like that around. But number 80 that time got the initial block on the outside. And that time they got Williams around the corner and Harrow around the corner. And, of course, they got the ball carrier around the corner.
And got 8 yards with that ball carrier. So it's 2nd and 2. Apolletti bangs into the secondary. Big John is running like a horse.
Boy, they're taking Carl Eller on that one and standing him up. Let's take a look at it now. Here's the way they call the offensive play. See if we can figure it out. There's the man upstairs calling it down, making all kinds of signals. They can wipe it off. They can make it a live call or a... I'll tell you one thing, I'm confused just watching them try to make it.
Whatever, it worked. It's a first down for Los Angeles. The ball inside Minnesota territory now at the 48. Hayden, McCutcheon. McCutcheon tried to cut back, slipped down. Finally stopped by Nate Wright. It's been so long since they had any rain up in this part of the country. They didn't cover the end of the field on which they're playing right now. They covered the infield, the baseball infield. So down in here, it's very wet and very slippery. In some spots, water is standing.
Harold Jackson, by the way, is used as a decoy a lot. The speed, he ran the up that time and into the post and allowed McCutcheon to find a lot of room to catch that one.
Rams have 100 yards rushing. Minnesota has just 9. Capoletti struggling. Met by Jeff Seaman and Alan Page. That's the way they get the message to Pat Hayden. From the man up in the booth upstairs to the coach on the sideline, and then Kenny Meyer, the coach, signals out to Pat Hayden.
They do the same thing on defense. Through Tommy Catlin upstairs down to Malavasi on the sidelines.
2nd and 9 now. 4:40 left before halftime. Here's Hayden back with good protection this time. Now it starts to break down. He gets away from Sutherland. Fires deep in the direction of Capoletti. Capoletti had a couple of steps, but way over his head.
Hayden made a good scramble, but threw that one halfway to Santa Monica, right? Hey, the young kid did exactly what Fran Tarkinen did about 15 years ago, breaking in. Cappy's no way he could have climbed a ladder and even gotten close to it.
So it's going to be 3rd and 9 for that young man.
Look at these young people you're looking at here. France in his second year. Horton in his second year out of Colorado. We're talking about quality players. And the Rams gave up on a couple of quarterbacks, Hadel and Gabriel, and traded them off for #1 draft choices, and they have real quality.
The speed receivers come to the right together. Jackson and Jesse on the same side. Freeman Johns on the other side. On 3rd and 9. Hayden has spread out. Marshall was after him. Going to try to run for that first down, and no way. He got about to the 30. There's Hayden. Those of you watching the Dallas-New Orleans game, welcome to Minnesota. And a game between the Rams and the Vikings. That's the final score now. Dallas 24, New Orleans 6. The Cowboys have given up just 13 points in 2 weeks.
They said that Hayden got up the other day at hazing, and when he was supposed to sing his school song, they said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Hayden." They said, "What school?" And he said, "Oxford University."
Do they have a school song?
I don't think so. They...
The Colonel Bogey March. From way out will Tom Dempsey. With Steve Kreese holding, Dempsey will not get it there. Off to the left and short. And the ball, of course, now comes back to the original line of scrimmage, which is the 30.5-yard line, where Tarkenton and the Vikings take it over. They have picked up just 9 yards rushing against the Rams, but they lead 3-0.
Scared you about the Vikes is last week. They ran 80-some-odd plays against New Orleans and had 24 chances for third down conversions. Boy, that's really long drives. Those are time-consuming plays and drives by this team right here.
Tarkenton has White to the left and Lash to the right. He's going to throw. McClanahan drags Rick Kay with him for about 8.
Now let's take a look at the offensive right side now. Yeri, number 73, against Youngblood. Trying to keep him inside, and does. And then hangs on a little bit, and down goes Youngblood. Of course, Youngblood does talk to the other quarterback a lot. Some of the things he says we do not want to pick up.
3 minutes left on second down. 3 minutes before the half. Minnesota leads 3-0. Chuck Foreman tries to get to the outside. Couple of hits. Foreman's got about 6, and more than enough for a first down before Rick Kay, the linebacker, made the stop.
Good recovery by Kay, but a real good block on him by McClanahan. And this could be the most dangerous, the most versatile all-around back this side of O.J. Simpson. I think Foreman can do about as much as anybody.
Stick around at halftime. We'll bring you up to date on all the scores as we switch back to Brent Musburger, Herb Cross, and Phyllis George. And we'll have a very, very exciting interview with one of the biggest guys you ever saw. Ben Davidson's in the booth with us, and the booth is tilted in that direction. That is Ahmad Rashad. His first reception as a Viking.
This guy's about 205 pounds, Pat. I never thought he ran the inside patterns very well as Bobby Moore, but they tell me he's going to maybe be the one that's going to be the other receiver opposite Sammy White with the Viking team. He is a talented person.
2-minute warning being issued to both benches now, which here are on the same side of the field, the only place that happens. Tarkenton goes over.
My helper will show you 2 things to look for in a measuring tape. 1, a positive lock. My Lufkin blade won't slip. 2, a shock absorber so the tip won't break off. My Lufkin has a patented bumper to help prevent that.
For us pros, it's Lufkin for accuracy.
For the best amateurs, too. Now, for a limited time, get a free metric tape with these Lufkin power tapes. Lufkin, one of the great family of tools from Cooper Industries.
You are beautiful. Come on, pal, I'll buy you a beer.
2 Old Milwaukee. That's my beer. Win or lose, you can always count on the great taste of Old Milwaukee. It's named after the city that means beer. And it lives up to the Milwaukee tradition because Old Milwaukee beer tastes as great as its name.
Let's talk about next week.
Old Milwaukee beer tastes as great as its name.
Fran Tarkenton over on the sideline talking with Bud Grant and backup quarterback Bob Lee. That's the rushing situation now for both teams. Los Angeles has 119. Minnesota has just 10.
But Fran has 8 for 12 for 54 yards. It looks to me like he's going to start flooding all the zones with receivers.
He sends Rashad to the right side, and Sammy White comes left. Second down. Gives to McClanahan. McClanahan swinging to the outside. A fine tackle by Monty Jackson.
It's just tough to run against the Rams. They held Atlanta to like 60 yards rushing last week, and Atlanta hit them and banged them. And the Rams finally just sort of, shook them off and blew them out in that fourth period. But you can see the Vikings are a pretty good football team, and they're not able to do much running in this first half.
Vikings lead 3-0. A minute and a half left before the half. It is 3rd and 4. They're just in Ram territory at the 49-yard line. Tarkenton sends Foreman in motion to the right. He comes back. Outside it goes to Foreman. Gets away from Kay and gets the first down for Minnesota. Some athlete is Chuck Foreman. Dave Elmendorf made the tackle, but Foreman lunged for that first down.
And Fran runs that almost like a darn handoff. Here he puts number 44 in motion and then sprints that way and then just gets the ball to him. It gets you on defensively. He's on your outside as soon as the ball is snapped almost. That's the way it feels.
Now the Vikings have taken a timeout, and Tarkenton again visits the sideline to talk to his coach Bud Grant. They still have 2 left.
Now Fran makes up all of his plays, really. He gets together with Coach Burns during the week and with head coach Bud Grant. But when Tarkenton calls a game, it's the quarterback's game. It's his option. Now he'll talk it over and get some real expertise here. But Fran Tarkenton is his own boss on the field.
It has been for a long time.
Now see the little guy behind there, Johnny Michaels, chewing that gum. He's the offensive line coach. He is about 5'11" and coaches